अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं बीएस इकनॉमिक्स की स्टूडेंट और मैं प्रोफेशनल और मैं ये वीडियो इसलिए बना रही हूँ कि लोग मेरी वीडियो से फ़ायदा हासिल करें। जो आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे वो है बिज़नेस मार्केट्स और बाइंग बिहेवियर के बारे में। तो इसकी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स पर थोड़ा देख लेते हैं। इसमें क्या है, इन सम वेज बिज़नेस मार्केट्स आर सिमिलर टू कंज्यूमर मार्केट्स. Both involve people who assume buying roles and make purchase decisions to satisfy needs. However, business markets differ in many ways from consumer markets. The main differences are in the market structure and demand, the nature of the buying unit, and the types of decision and decision process involved. Business markets also have their own characteristics. In some ways, they are similar to consumer markets, but in other ways, they are very different. The main differences include, सबसे पहले हमारे पास क्या है, मार्केट स्ट्रक्चर एंड डिमांड है। उसमें क्या होता है, बिजनेस मार्केट्स टिपिकली डील विद far fewer but far larger buyers. They are more geographically concentrated. Business markets have derived demand, business demand that ultimately comes from or drives from the demand for many business markets have inelastic demand. There is total demand for many business products is not affected much by price changes, especially in the short run. A drop in the price of leather will not cause shoe manufacturers to buy much more leather unless it results in lower shoe price that in turn will increase consumer demand for shoes. Finally, business markets have more fluctuating demand. The demand for many business goods and services tend to change more and more quickly than the demand for consumer goods and services does. A small percentage increase in consumer demand can cause large increase in business demand. Sometimes a rise of only 10% in consumer demand can cause as much as 200% rise in business demand during the next period. नेक्स्ट हम नेचर के बारे में पढ़ लेते हैं. बाइंग यूनिट की कहा था, कंपेयर्ड विद कंज्यूमर परचेज, अ बिजनेस परचेज यूजुअली इन्वॉल्व मोर डिसीजन पार्टिसिपेंट्स एंड अ मोर प्रोफेशनल purchasing effort. Often business buying is done by trained purchasing agents who spend their working lives learning how to make better buying decisions. Buying committees made up of technical experts and top management are common in the buying of major goods. Companies are putting their best and brightest people on procurement patrol. Therefore, business markets must have well-trained salespeople to deal with well-trained buyers. देन उसकी टाइप्स जो है डिसीजन की और डिसीजन प्रोसेस की वो देख लेते हैं. बिजनेस बाय यूजुअली फेस मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स बाइंग डिसीजन दैन डू कंज्यूमर बायर्स. Purchases often involve large sums of money, complex technical and economic consideration and interaction among many people at many levels of the buyer's organization. Because the purchases are more complex, business buyers may take longer to make their decisions. The business buying process tends to be more formalized than the consumer buying process. Large business purchases usually call for detailed product specification, written purchase orders, careful supplier searches, and formal approval. The buying firm might even prepare policy manuals that detail the purchase process. नेक्स्ट बिजनेस बाइंग बिहेवियर, उसमें क्या होता है, द मॉडल एंड फिगर सजेस्ट 4 क्वेश्चन अबाउट बिजनेस बायर बिहेवियर. व्हाट बाइंग डिसीजन डू बिजनेस बायर्स मेक, व्हाट पार्टिसिपेट्स इन द बाइंग प्रोसेस, एंड थर्ड है व्हाट आर द मेजर इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन बायर्स, और फोर्थ है हाउ डू बिजनेस बायर मेक देयर बाइंग डिसीजन. नेक्स्ट इसकी मेजर टाइप्स ऑफ बाइंग सिचुएशन की वो देख लेते हैं. देयर आर 3 मेजर टाइप्स ऑफ बाइंग सिचुएशन. एट वन एक्सट्रीम इज द स्ट्रेट robbery, which is fairly routine decision. At the other extreme is the new task, which may call for thorough research. In the middle in the modified ruby, which requires some research. In a single ruby, the buyers readers something without any modification. It usually bundled on a routine basis by the purchasing department. फिर हमारे पास आता है ना modified ruby. The buyers wants to modify purchase specification, prices, terms or suppliers. The modified ruby usually involves more decisions participant than the straight ruby. The in supplier may become nervous and feel pressure to put their best for forward to protect in account. तो ये थे हमारे मेजर नेक्स्ट पार्टिसिपेंट्स, उसमें क्या होता है, यूजर्स आर मेंबर्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हु विल यूज द प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस। इन मैनी केसेस यूजर initiate the buying proposal and help define product specification. Influence often help define specification and also provide information for evaluating alternatives. Technical panels are particularly important if learners. Then हमारे पास होता है buyers have formal authority to select the supplier and arrange terms of purchase. Buyers may help shape product specification, but their major role in selecting vendors and negotiating. In more complex purchases, buyers might include high level officers. ये जो है हमारे पास participant. Then environmental factors, उसमें क्या होता है, business buyers are influenced heavily by factors in the current and expected in economic environment, such as the level of primary demand, the economic outlook, and the cost of money. As economic uncertainty rises, business buyers can cut back on new investment and attempt to reduce their inventories. देन आ जाता है हमारे पास ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल फैक्टर्स में क्या होता है, ईच बाइंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज़ इट्स ऑन ऑब्जेक्टिव पॉलिसीज प्रोसीजर्स स्ट्रक्चर्स एंड सिस्टम्स. द बिजनेस मार्केट्स मस्ट नाउ दीज organizational factors as thoroughly as possible. Questions such as they is arise: how many people are involved in buying decision, who are they, what are their evaluation criteria, what are the company's policies and limits on the buyers. Then interpersonal factors में क्या होता है, the buying center usually includes many participants who influence each other. The business marketers often find it difficult to determine what kind of interpersonal factors and group dynamics enter into the buying process. Participants may have influence in the buying decision because they control reward and punishment. तो ये हमारे पास होता है interpersonal factors. Then हमारे पास होता है individual factors. Each participant in the business buying decision process brings in personal motives, perception and preference. These individual factors are affected by personal characteristics such as age, income, education, professional identification, personality and attitude toward risk. तो ये होता है हमारे पास individual. Other buyers may be intuitive negatives who are adopt at putting the seller against one another for the best deal. देन थोड़ा सा गवर्नमेंट मार्केट के बारे में देख लेते हैं. द गवर्नमेंट मार्केट ऑफर लार्ज अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ फॉर मैनी companies both big and small. In most countries, government organizations are major buyers of goods and services. Government buying and business buying are similar in many ways, but there are also differences that must be understood by companies that wish to sell products and services to government. To succeed in the government market, seller must locate key decision makers, identify the factors that affect buyers' behavior and understand the buying decision process. तो नेक्स्ट हमारे पास की टर्म्स है, बिजनेस मार्केट से ट्रेड रीबाय और मॉडिफाइड रीबाय, न्यू टास्क बाइंग और यूजर्स, इन्फ्लुएंसर, बायर्स, डिसाइडर और गेट्स कीपर. तो ये हमारे पास क्या थी, की टर्म्स थी. थैंक यू सो मच. आज हमने पढ़ा है मार्केट पर सर्च बारे में, उसके बाद बाइंग बिहेवियर के बारे में. तो उम्मीद करती हूँ आपको मेरी वीडियो अच्छी लगी होगी. हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो में नेक्स्ट चैप्टर के साथ मिलेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच. अल्लाह हाफिज़.